Welcome in. Today, we're going to share a simple story with a very big meaning. It's a little tale about two soldiers that actually helps us figure out our own place in the world.
All right, so let's jump right in by asking a huge question, one that this whole story is designed to help us answer. What is our real job in this world? I think it's something we all wonder about, and this story gives us a really powerful way to think about it. So, our story kicks off during a pretty tough time, in the middle of a great war. Just picture it, a giant army camp, absolutely buzzing with activity, everyone getting ready. And right there, in the middle of it all, we meet our two soldiers.
Now, let's get to know these two guys. On one side, you have the dutiful soldier. This guy got it. He knew his purpose, he was focused, and he was ready to do his job. But on the other side, you've got the worried soldier. He was brand new, totally lost, and his mind was just constantly spinning with anxiety, mostly about where he was going to get his next meal. Let's start by following the path of our first soldier, the dutiful one. He had a really clear game plan and knew exactly what his responsibilities were. His approach was actually super simple. He knew his #1 job was to train for battle. That was the priority. He also chipped in with chores around the camp, cooking, cleaning, whatever needed to be done. But here's the real key. He had complete trust in the king. He knew it was the king's job to provide food and supplies for everyone, so he never wasted a single second worrying about it.
And this pretty much says it all. If you asked him what he was doing, he wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm working to get my lunch." Nope, he would proudly tell you, "I am doing the king's work." His purpose was way bigger than just his own needs.
Okay, now let's switch gears and look at our other soldier. He took a completely different path, one that was guided by his worries instead of his duty. This guy just let his anxiety take over. He'd skip his training thinking, the king's work? That's not my problem. I have to look out for myself. So he would actually leave his post, wander off to the market and try to find his own food. But this just made him more anxious. And the ironic thing is, he was still hungry most of the time. Well, seeing his friend so lost and just eaten up by worry, the dutiful soldier decided he had to step in. He went over to him to offer some really important advice. He said, "Listen, friend, our real job here, the reason we're in this camp, is to train and get ready for battle. You have to trust the king. He's kind and he's powerful, and he's promised to take care of us. Making sure we have food, that's his job, not ours. He won't let you go hungry." And right here, you see the results of their two different ways of thinking. The soldier who focused on his duty and trusted the king, he was peaceful, he was successful, and he always had what he needed. The other soldier, the one who only focused on his own worries, was just fearful and worn out. He failed his duty, and he often went hungry anyway. So, as you've probably figured out by now, this isn't just a simple story about soldiers. It's what you call an allegory, a story with a hidden meaning that's really about our own lives. In this story, the wise, powerful, and kind king, well, he represents our Creator, the one who brought us here and provides everything we need. And that busy, chaotic army camp? That's a symbol for the world we all live in. It's a place that's full of its own challenges, duties, and responsibilities. So, what about the training and the battle? What do those stand for? Well, they represent the most important jobs we've been given, our duties, our prayers, and just our efforts to be good people. That's our main mission. Okay, now that we've decoded the symbols, what is this story actually trying to teach us about how we should live our lives? What's the big takeaway here? The path to peace that it shows us is actually beautifully simple. First, you focus on your main purpose, your duties and your prayers. Second, you do that with total trust that your Creator will provide what you need. And then once that foundation of trust is set, going out and working for a living becomes a good and brave thing to do. It becomes another form of worship, not just a source of anxiety. Ultimately, what the story is telling us is that this kind of trust is an incredible source of strength. It frees us from that heavy, crushing weight of constant worry and lets us live with a real sense of peace and purpose, because we know we're not carrying all our burdens alone. And so, this simple story leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. It shows us two different paths with two very different outcomes. There's the path of trust, which leads to peace, and there's the path of worry, which leads to fear. The choice, the story tells us, is ours. So, which soldier do you want to be?